Hey guys, what's going on and welcome back to Skegness Town. It's been a while, and if you're watching this live upon its release at noon on Saturday, then I should be live on Twitch at the same time with this very save. So hop on over once you're done with this video, twitch.tv/AmazingChi. However, I haven't got you caught up on the 3 seasons that have passed since the last time I did one of these videos. I do apologise for that. Now, not going to be any live games in this. This is just a recap over 3 seasons. I want to do it as quickly as I possibly can. We start, of course, with season number 5 overall, which was the 24-25 season, which saw us promoted from Tier 7 via the unnecessarily complicated promotion system. But we succeeded in those playoffs and we found ourselves in Tier 6 for the first time, where things went actually rather well, surprisingly well for the first time in Tier 6. Early part of this season were dominated by the Lincolnshire sides. Ourselves, Boston and Grantham, who sadly fell away in the second half of the season, but the season ended up with Boston running away with it. That one seemed like a foregone conclusion for most of the season. They had a bit of a wobble in the sort of springtime, but still ended up 10 points clear of Fylde in second. I wish we'd ended up second because obviously in Tier 6 there's one automatic place which went to Boston, then the next 6 teams down do a playoff system where second and third get a bye for the first round, but both Fylde and ourselves beat the oppositions that succeeded in the first round of playoffs, which meant the playoff final was between us and Fylde. And in this division, that final is played at whoever seeded higher, so we had to play at theirs for this one. Yes, we had to play away at Fylde, who, as you can see, scored 101 goals. We did actually beat Fylde at their place about 3 or 4 games before the end of the season. However, this is where the first of the nonsense things that fork us over these next few years happens, because not only are we playing at their place in a playoff final, because the database is broken in regards to where the season starts and where the season ends, the transfer window opened before the playoff final. Fylde brought in 3 first-team players that all went into the season preview best 11 for this division. I can't help but feel like that's cheating. So, since this is called the VANARAMA North years, yeah, we obviously lost that one. You see there, we beat them 3-0 at their place a few weeks earlier on. Christiansen, Edmondson and Eddie Brown on that one. I'll show you the main team for that one this season in a moment. But yeah, they got the better of us in the end. Feels a bit harsh, that one. That loss did. But if I go to that season's particular best 11, you can see who played well for us, who was in our team, and who didn't play well. Well, you can't see who didn't play well for us because they won't be appearing, basically. You can't see who didn't play for us, obviously. There's one major obvious issue off the bat, and that are the fullbacks. I mean, left back wasn't too bad. Gary Bruce, 6.89. At this point in time, I can't remember who was here before and who wasn't. However, Nigel Allen, I'm pretty certain was in goal before, and yeah, he remained in goal for that season. Names that I'm pretty certain I have followed through are people like Christiansen, of course, 34 appearances for him, 7 rating. Eddie Brown got 29 goals in 46, still scoring in Tier 6. I think this is about his level, though, unfortunately. Michael Gillespie is a name that I do recognise from this list because he came in on a loan. I think he was loaned in at the beginning of the season, but I didn't start playing him until January when I got fed up of James Morris, who wasn't performing. Eddie Brown just had that little bit more quality than James Morris. James Morris, probably a leading Tier 7 player. Eddie Brown, just a good Tier 6 player. James Morris was phased out and Gillespie was phased in. Gillespie scored some key goals in order for us to get to where we were at the end of the season. Do remember that much. Jack Cotton returned to the club. After playing with us in the pitching in Southern League Division 1 South, he went to the VANARAMA South and then promptly went down divisions again. And then we picked him up in the VANARAMA North in 24-25. He's still with us, although reduced appearance over these 3 seasons as we improved the defence, but very good on his return. And of course, you can see we have been promoted at the end of all this. That's the ultimate thing. We did get promoted at the end of the 3rd season in the VANARAMA North. However, there's still a season of absolute nonsense in between. We'll get to that momentarily. Magri, another name that I'm fairly certain we had going through. James Coffey Cumming is a name. It's a name. I mean, it's definitely a name. Blimey. Yes, James Coffey Cumming. Good God. No, I mean, I'm never tired of saying the name. He unfortunately played 25 games and then was sold by my board for £1,200 to Birmingham. I had no choice in this matter. They did that. They did get a future fee on this, which I then probably sold eventually for actual reasonable money. I think it was about 500 grand we got for that buyout in the end. But so in the end, good business by my board, but he was my best player. He was one of my best players at that point. The rating doesn't really agree with it, but on paper, attribute-wise, he was my best player. And the board sold him for £1,200, which was in order to solve well over £100,000 worth of debt, because obviously that was going to do it. Morons. I mean, I can show you the finances now for the upcoming season. I'm actually on the verge of starting season 8. The games we're about to play. Yeah. At the point of 24-25 when they sold him, that's where we were. About £200,000 in debt. So obviously selling a player for £1,200 solves that. Idiots. There's a Wembley trip here, I think. We'll get to them. And then irritatingly, the year after they loaned him to Boston. This makes it look like they sold him in the... I don't know why this makes it look like they sold him in the summer following. Because I'm pretty certain he was sold during the year. But yeah, most recent season he went to Boston on loan, which isn't irritating, considering we play in their stadium. Good news is, they are building a new stadium. It was very imperative that we got promoted when we did, because they were only going to put enough seats for the VANARAMA North. There's a minimum requirement for the VANARAMA, and it's 1,000 more. So hopefully they put those extra 1,000 seats in. Otherwise, they built a stadium which isn't good enough for the league we're in. Thankfully, he had a terrible time with things there. Serves him right. But now we get to the most nonsense season I've ever played. Ever. I can no longer show you the past positions for this particular season, of course, because it's ticked over. But we were leading this. We were leading this with a very large margin in January. But then guess what happened? Actually, James Coffee Company might have been sold in that summer by the board. Forced sold. Because this is the one. This is the season where they forced a sale in January. Yes, they sold my best player again in January in order to solve that debt, which obviously was going to be solved by selling one player for absolutely nothing to Grimsby, who are, of course, a local rival. If I highlight the games where we had Kai Bond, who is the player that was sold, that is the form with Kai Bond. That follows is the form without Kai Bond. Notice the lack of green there was also important to notice. Sorry, Kai Bond might actually have been sold a little bit later on. I know, no, it was there. That was his last game. So actually, the form without Kai Bond is there. 2 wins in 9 games, 8 games, something like that. What's important to note here is, immediately after selling Kai Bond to Grimsby, our top goal scorer, as you can see there's a hat-trick against Tamworth, there's a hat-trick against Halifax, there's 4 goals against Scarborough, 2 goals against Mickle over there. Yeah, he was free scoring. Anytime he liked, really, popped a goal in. So he was sold to Grimsby. 1 week later, as I'm sorting out his replacement, or trying to sort out his replacement, the ball goes into a takeover and cancels all of the transfers that I was going to bring in to replace Kai Bond. Which means I didn't get that solved until, and I'm going to try and find the game where he appeared, there. We're in a takeover for all of this. Now, form, thankfully, did actually pick up a little bit, even without the new players coming in, because Troy Chiabi was the solution. And when I say he was the solution, you can see exactly when and where he was solving things. Goal there, goal there, goal there, goal there, goal there. 3 goals there, 3 goals there, goal there, 2 goals there. We still lost that one. And Ben Warman, with 2 goals here, was the other striker I brought in. I ended up overcompensating in case it happened again. I brought in 3, and I played 2 of them fairly regularly. In fact, Tony Beattie, I think, was the 3rd one. So, Ben Warman there. You may notice here, last 2 games of the season, draw and a loss. Yeah, we finished 3 points behind FC United, so those 5 points we dropped, absolutely crucial. Absolutely crucial. Because immediately what happened there was we lost to Bradford PA in the playoff semi-final, where a player was sent off in the 22nd minute. They got 2 second-half goals. So we lost the playoffs again. And then, of course, immediately after that, I popped in a friendly as soon as I could, and we beat Barnsley 3-2. That's right, Championship Barnsley, who was managed by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because of course they are. Just to show you the nonsense of this one, lost to Bradford, beat Barnsley. So a 3rd season of the VANARAMA North was on the cards. But first, of course, just show you the main... Of course, I'll show you the main thing. It's worth knowing in these 2 seasons, I did try out the Tenerife Volante system in the VANARAMA North. We did overperform, it's fair to say. 2nd, 3rd and 2nd in those respective seasons when we didn't have a squad that was anywhere near those levels in the season preview. However, did change things the season that followed, because I got angry. I'll get to that in a moment. Goalkeeper was changed for someone who was better than Nigel Allen, although very much had an inflated opinion of himself, did Fergal Hale Brown. Don't think he survived that season, if I'm completely honest. I'm pretty certain he moved on the year after that. But you can see the major problem here was Kai Bond, 26 goals in 24, 7.78. You can see why we missed him. You can see why we absolutely missed his presence there. Eddie Brown, 11 in 36. We've found his level. Chris Jansen, again, found his level. He performed woefully. Ryan Kelly, one of the shining lights in that season. Very good average rating over the course of it. McKenna as well came in central defence. He's not with us anymore. He was poached by Colchester. But again, left back, 6.77. Right back, 6.71. There are no good fullbacks at this level of football, it seems. None. Every year, 6.8 is about as best as I can ask for the fullbacks. I don't know if it's something that the fullbacks aren't doing that are causing their ratings to be lower at this level of football that they are doing at higher levels of football, like with Tenerife, because my fullbacks aren't this bad there most of the time. But Clayton on the right, chipped in with a lot of goals. He was the saviour in the period where we didn't have Kai Bond. Without him, we definitely would have not been second at all, or even in a shout of getting that title. He very much picked up that slack towards the end of that period. Obviously, it was very rocky initially when we lost Kai Bond, as you saw. Then it gradually filtered back in just when the takeover happened, and then I finally get those strikers in. I'm still not over that, by the way. I'm still not over that. Magri's still here. Nigel still actually played 22 games. Basically, I played Nigel when Fergal stopped being annoying and asking for more game time. I put Nigel back in again because, really, he let me down most of the time. I don't know how he ended up with a higher average rating than Nigel, to be honest. But finally, after the anger that was induced by this particular season, I changed things up dramatically. As you can see, we went to a 4-3-3. There's actually names this time around. We went to a 4-3-3. And when I say I got angry, I got angry. Now who's scoring 101 goals filed? Yeah, Boston actually did get promoted again with us. They went up, went down, and now have gone back up with us this time via the playoffs. But 101 goals for, 44 against. It's not actually the lowest conceded. There are, I think, 2 teams were lower. Yeah, 2 teams were lower. Hartlepool and Guiseley conceded less. But 91 points, 13 points clear. 57 goal difference in total. 27 games won, 5 lost. Just 5 lost. And most of them happened after we actually won the title, I'm pretty certain. A lot of friendlies just to try and get money. The season dates are still wrong, but at the very least I can put friendlies in, seemingly. I tell a lie. There's 1 loss to Hyde, there's 1 loss to Grantham late on. Other than that, you can see the situation though. Troy Chiabi, Ben Warman, Lewis Sheed as well. He was the third of those strikers I used. Eddie Brown largely phased out at this point, but Chiabi. There's a name that appears a lot on this list, and that is Troy Chiabi. Once again, we found a striker who just likes to score at will. Troy Chiabi there, 2 there, 1 there. Lewis Sheed got 4 here. Ben Warman got 2 in that one as well. Yeah, the front 3, as you saw, 101 goals. Absolutely lethal. I hate Halifax though. I don't like Halifax. They beat us home and away. I don't know what it is about Halifax. They just absolutely had our number, did Halifax. As did Grantham, actually, I've just noticed. Home and away. We lost to 3 different teams, but 5 losses in total. So if I show you that best 11 again, not really a lot to talk about in the season when we did get promoted because it was an automatic promotion. Somewhat pioneered by those front 3. 33 goals for Ben Warman, 22 goals for Lewis Sheed, and 42 goals for Troy Chiabi. Eddie Brown did chip in with 15. I don't know why it lines up like this at the front, by the way, because it's 1 pressing forward and 2 attacking forwards, not the this way around. So those 2 on the left and right are actually further advanced than the 1 in the middle. I don't know why it's reorganised them like this. But yeah, Eddie Brown did play in the pressing forward role most of the time. Lewis Sheed stepped in the rest of the time. And Ben Warman and Troy Chiabi, as you can tell, 52 appearances for Warman, 54 for Chiabi, were the attacking forwards on either side for pretty much the entirety of the season. Again, fullbacks, Joe Maxwell with another 6.77. I mean, he's consistent at least. 2 seasons, averaging a 6.77. I have subsequently sold him. Spoilers for the next season, but yeah, I've sold him for money because people were apparently actually interested in him. Suckers. Connor Barrett on the right back, 6.84. It's a miracle. It's above a 6.8. He's still with us. He's still one of our better players. 3.5 stars. Just show you him. This is the kind of level of play that we're trying to get at this stage. Players that are decent for the VANARAMA National. Yeah. We're not bottom of the predictions. I will say that for the season preview. We're not bottom of the season preview for the VANARAMA. But we're nowhere near the top either. It's about 16th, if I remember rightly. 33-1. So it's not in the triple digits, but we're nowhere near looking like we're going to be promoted again. New goalkeeper though, Jake March, actually a 7 rating for him, which is a miracle over what we had the previous season. Highly eccentric, can't really command anything. Can't. First touch is woeful. Acceleration isn't awful. His vision, he needs glasses. But for this level of football, competent is the main aim. Competent, and he does have potential. He's 20, and that's why he's in. But Noel Ireland, my favourite person in the universe, because he is Irish. I have an Irishman called Ireland. He's my favourite player. Released from Arsenal, and we got him. Pretty certain he was the first acquisition in that window, which baffled me even more. Obviously, we've improved. If you look at that comparison on the right side, obviously we've improved for this next season in defence as well. He's got a new partner alongside, but I can't argue with Noel Ireland, the Irishman. Put it in 6.98, 6.96. Hopefully, he sells it even more this year. Score alongside him. Played most of the time. Maxwell, annoyingly 51 games at 6.77. Consistently average. Mikhailov, I enjoy as well. Roberts Mikhailov. I just like the fact his first name is Roberts. No determination. Is problematic, possibly, but Latvian international. 7 actual Latvian caps. Yeah, we had an actual international player in Tier 6. It's awkward. Mind you, we've had Magri this entire time, who's a Maltese international. I think Latvia might be a little level above Malta, just. Yeah, very well-rounded is Roberts Mikhailov. Does pretty much every midfield role at a decent capacity. And then there's Warman, who is, I think, still with us. Not really good enough for the VANARAMA, apparently, and hates big games. Just physically competent. The technicals and the mentals aren't really there. He's actually collapsed as a player, seemingly. I don't know if that's just because we brought in better players. I haven't actually rolled this one back to the end of the previous season. I have just picked this up where I left it off at the end of the transfer window for the new season. That's Charby, by the way. 11 finishing, 13 acceleration. Really, nothing really stands out about him, realistically, actually. 2.5 stars again. Doesn't like big games and inconsistent. My arse. 11 goals in 11, 31 in 41, 42 in 54 total. Inconsistent. Actually played for Wimbledon. Actually played for Wimbledon in league football. Released on a free. We picked him up most of the way through a season. Obviously, a little bit desperate for football at that point. He went, all right, I'll do Tier 6 and destroyed it. And Lewis Sheed, again, somewhat outclassed in terms of just star rating. Also hates big games. The front three hate big games, so I'm glad we didn't have to go through the playoff system. But obviously, we've strengthened in all of those roles. There's a few loanies here. Mirko Frank, one of them. Jake Armour, the backup left back, 6.66. So that's why Maxwell played more. James Jones, rotation midfielder. Jarrett White, can't remember what he played. I think he was a loanee midfielder. Sorry. And then Chloe at the backup right back, 6.68. You can see why I persisted with these two fullbacks. Obviously, the fullbacks tend to get subbed on a lot, which is why their total appearances add up to way more games than there actually were between the pairs of them. But a much better year, all things considered. So much more green, so much more wins, 91 points, and promotion to the VANARAMA National, where there's one team in there that's not had a good time of things in terms of league football and slipping down the divisions, and that is the rather narratively interesting Lincoln. Because obviously the first target for Skegness Town here is to become the best Lincolnshire side. The fact that the actual best Lincolnshire side has fallen into the VANARAMA National again is interesting narratively. However, they aren't actually the best Lincolnshire side in this save at the moment because I believe Scunthorpe are still in League 2. Indeed they are. And most importantly, and most surprisingly, Oxford, apologies, you have been relegated as well. Bit of a surprise. Wigan in League 2 is... Huddersfield have had a horrible time of things. They're in League 2 as well. Chester are up to League 2, so good for Chester. But in League 1, we find Kai Bond's new side, Grimsby. So they are now the targets for the best Lincolnshire side. So they're 2 divisions higher at this point in time. This is sort of the division I'm trying to loan players from because typically you can get them from 2 leagues above for low wages, in theory. Particularly when you run out of wages, they become a little bit sympathetic, allow them to go to free. So still a little bit more transfers to be made in this division, possibly for the new season. We'll see how that pans out. So that's the story of Skegness in the VANARAMA North. Hopefully, the VANARAMA Normal is less of a chore and less nonsense occurs. However, my hopes aren't particularly high. Join me over on twitch.tv/AmazingChi. The targets in terms of regular streams for this save are Tuesday evenings and Saturday morning / lunchtime, effectively. So hopefully I'll see you in one of those streams soon. Thank you for watching. Until next time, ta